I want to talk a bit about the the roles of data controller, data processor, and data protection officers. For the data controller, we need to make sure that we provide appropriate security measure for preventing the unauthorized usage or lawful loss. We have to make sure that it will go back to confidentiality, availability, and integrity of the personal data. We have to have a proper data security measure. And when it comes to data sharing, we have to make sure that the person whom we share the information also have, we can control them not to illegally use our data. That's our duty by this law. If we share the information and we cannot control and the leak happen, the breach happen at a data processor, we will also be liable for that. Whether it's going to be by contractual, we can put the contract into data sharing clause, like I say, or we send someone to do the auditing. I think from time to time, for example, in the past, when we sign a contract, we ask our business partner to be compliant with the PCI DSS, right? But we never actually auditing them, and also ourselves, we also not certify the PCI DSS ourselves. That's our obligation to. The third one is quite critical. Like I say, our obligation, our duty is data destruction. It said that we have to have a system to examine when is the time to erase or to destruct the data, the personal data. When the retention period is over, we can no longer keep it. Or when the personal data is irrelevant or we no longer in use, there is no business purpose anymore. We need to erase it. We need to have a system to erase it. And when the data subject requests, we also have to have the system to erase their personal data. And I think this is one thing that quite critical because we don't have that system in place yet. Also in the reservation function, they keep the reservation and information there forever in their computers. There has to have the system to detect that this is already over the limits or also retention period is over or something like that. And the next one is our duty to notify the committees from the PDPA once we have the data breach within 72 hours, similar to the GDPR. And whether or not we are obliged to notify the data subject or not, it depends on the magnitude or severity of the breach. If it's unlikely to cause them the harm to their personal data, we are allowed not to notify them. But it is a must that we need to notify the committee. The data subject, it depends on the case. And right now we are already working on the data breach procedures. We have outside third party to help us in terms of data breach. That's our duty as a data controller. Another duty is that we need to have a representative in the EU if we offer the product and service to the EU resident. So we need to have a representative. I think some other data regulation in other countries also have similar concept. If we sell the product for people living in their country, we need to have a representative. And I think there's already a service in the EU already, except if we don't process the sensitive data, it's okay that we don't have to have a representative. But because we offer the good and service for the guests, I think it's unavoidable anyway. They only provide exception that we don't need a data representative. Only the processing is occasional. Doesn't include large-scale processing, or doesn't include special data categories or sensitive data. Otherwise, we need to have a representative anyway. Okay, the last duty of data controller, like I explained earlier, we need to have a record of processing activity. This record will tell you what kind of personal data collected, what is the purpose of collection, retention period, detail of data controller, and rights of data subject, and also lawful basis that we use for processing the data. And this is actually this is a template that I use it from the in the GDPR, they already have this template. You can see that they have in the left-hand side column, business function, sales and marketing, purpose of processing data, direct marketing, and also they have category of individual, whether it's going to be sorry, too small, existing customer or potential customer. And for existing customer, what kind of information that you collect, whether it's contact detail or purchasing history. And for the potential customer, you collect contact detail or something like that. That's an example of a data processing activity. For implementing this, IT and legal team are looking for a consultant. They soon will come in around April or something to help each department to do the data record. ROPA, record of data processing activities. But also, Kun Aloysius, we want to have a separate legal compliance checklist, right? We are looking for a legal consultant. Actually, it's the same company that helped us implementing this in the first place. They want to come back and see whether their recommendation has been executed or not to make sure that we are in compliance before the PDPA is coming to effective.